Hello everyone, I know it's been a while since I last uploaded anything. Uh, really busy these days. I'll try to squeeze in a few uploads during the week, but usually you'll probably see them happen on weekends from now on. Now we'll be covering the Undead teams today. One thing that's important to note, Undead teams have necromancers. The necromancer uh, has a different role than the apothecary. Basically, if you kill an opponent, then you have a choice to raise the dead, and you get a free zombie that you can, well, buy out for no money at the end of the game. There's a problem with that, of course, because, well, they don't have access to apothecaries. Which means, of course, that they're more likely to suffer great injuries. Well, of course, they do have something to replace apothecaries, which is regeneration. However, regeneration has a 1 out of 2 chances to work. So, on paper it may seem very nice. However, in practice, I find it less reliable than just using apothecaries. However, you can avoid bad injuries with regeneration, so it's certainly not useless. Anyway, since we don't have apothecaries, we'll go straight to rerolls. And they are pretty pricey for this team. So I'll start with, yeah, let's go with 3. And then let's jump straight to purchasing players. Well, the Undead do have mummies. Mummies are very strong players. They do have strength, 5 strength. And they're not big guys. So they're regular players. You can only have 2 of them, but they are very strong. However, they do suffer from clinically low and critically low movement and agility. Well, don't expect them to carry the ball too much because of those 2 stats. They do have very nice armor, and they do come with Mighty Blow and Regeneration. Of course, you'll probably want to give them block and tackle fairly soon, but they only have access to the strength table, which means you'll probably end up giving them guard and stand firm and skills along those lines. I will buy 1, even though they cost 120,000. The whites, they will probably end up being your regular ball carriers along with ghouls. Their movement isn't anything to write home about. 6, decent, but certainly not what you would call impressive movement. Strength and agility, average. Their armor, 8, could be higher, but still very decent. They do come with block and regeneration, though. So, in theory, you only need to give them tackle to be sort of all-purpose offense and defense players. This way, you can put them in the backfield to stop any catchers that get through your defensive line and knock them out of the game. Of course, one thing that helps, they do have access to the strength and general tables, which means that you can give them Mighty Blow, Piling On, Guard, and such. So they're pretty versatile players when you think about it. I'll buy at least one at 90,000. Now ghouls. Ghouls you can have up to 4, while wiles and mummies you can have only two of them. The ghouls will end up either your ball carriers or your catchers, depending on what kind of level ups you get for other players. Because undead teams are not really meant to have a successful um, uh, throwing game, but hey, you never know. If you're lucky, you can develop a decent passing game. With 7 movement, they're the fastest of any of the players in the undead teams. Strength and agility wise, decent, very decent, on average. And armor class, well, 7, that's where you start getting a bit fragile. They only cost 70,000, so they're not that bad. I like to buy a couple of them when I start out. And then they do have 2 types of linemen: the zombies and the skellies. Now let's see what are the differences. The zombies, only 4 movement, so I really don't like them. Their movement is just too low for them to be really useful, especially since they only come with regeneration. You have to get them block, tackle, uh, with a little bit of luck, guard, and other skills. They only have access to the general table. 3 strength, very decent. 2 agility, well, yeah, and that's a bit of bottom of the barrel. And 8 armor value, decent. However, they do cost the same amount of money as skeletons. Skeletons do have 5 movement instead of 4. Already better. Strength and agility, same thing as zombies, except they do have 1 less armor value than the zombies. So basically, since they cost the same price, however, they do come with thick skull and regeneration. They have access to the same table as the zombies. So it depends on whether you want to go for mobility or armor. Technically, you'll probably get a few zombies, to put on your front line to help the mummies. But aside from that, they're not really useful. Skeletons, even though they're less durable, movement is already much better. So I tend to go for skeletons. So let's see. We'll go back to here and get, let's say, 3 zombies. And buy some skeletons. Now, as you can see, I already have 11 players. And I still have a very decent amount of money left. So, here, I could go for a second mummy and have only 40,000 left.